I never believed in time travel, not until it happened to me. It started last week when I found an old pocket watch at a flea market. It was silver, covered in strange symbols, and ticking backward. The seller, a man with hollow eyes, smiled when I picked it up. "Careful with that," he said. "It doesn't just tell time, it moves through it." I laughed, thinking he was joking. The watch was cheap, so I bought it. I wish I hadn't. That night I sat on my bed, turning the watch in my hands. Out of curiosity, I wound it up. The second I did, the room spun. The walls melted into darkness and my stomach twisted like I was falling. When the dizziness stopped, I wasn't in my room anymore. I was standing in the middle of a cobblestone street. Gas lamps flickered in the fog, and people in old-fashioned clothes walked past, their faces blurred like shadows. I heard distant music, something eerie, something wrong. I turned in circles, my heart racing. This wasn't a dream. This was real. Then I saw him. A tall man in a black coat stood at the end of the street watching me. His face was pale, his eyes dark and empty. When I met his gaze, he smiled. A slow, knowing smile. "You shouldn't be here," he said. I stumbled backward. "Where am I?" "You mean when," he corrected. "And the answer is too far from home." I looked down at the watch in my hand. The hands were spinning wildly, ticking faster and faster. "How do I get back?" I asked. The man stepped closer. "Time doesn't like to be played with," he whispered. "And now, it wants to keep you." The air grew cold. The shadows stretched toward me, long and sharp like claws. The people on the street stopped moving. Their faces twisted, their eyes turning black. I ran. I didn't know where to go, but I ran as fast as I could. The streets twisted like a maze, leading me deeper into the fog. The watch burned in my hand, ticking louder, faster. Then I heard it, his footsteps, slow, steady, following me. I turned a corner and slammed into something solid, a wooden door. Desperate, I pushed it open and fell inside. It was another shop, filled with clocks of all shapes and sizes. An old woman stood behind the counter. She looked at me, then at the watch in my hand. "You wound it, didn't you?" she murmured. "Please," I gasped. "I need to go back." She sighed, shaking her head. "Time is unforgiving." The door behind me creaked open. He was here. The woman grabbed the watch from my hand. She whispered something, and suddenly the world twisted again. I woke up in my bed. My room was exactly as I left it. The watch was gone, but the ticking never stopped. Every night I hear it, closer, louder, and sometimes I feel someone watching me,